Don't tell us what to do, Michael. Michael.
I mean, you guys.
Man.
I don't want to mansplain a show to you that you
Don't
broads are
mansplain
supposed
to
be
me.
doing. Hey, how about you kick the ball off? Let's go.
You want to go for a beer after this?
Wait, we weren't supposed to drink before?
I mean, I've been drinking since I got here. So.
Okay.
Right,
Let's
you
get
girls
a. Can I
ready?
get a countdown or the timer thing going on?
Yep,
Is it like 27 in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So around 56-ish.
I just looked at that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't started yet. I don't know if she can see it from over there. All right. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to 614Fempreneur. I am Michael Cheney, and I am so excited for my partner in crime here, Jennifer Kessel-White.
Thank you. JKW Jennifer Kessel-White here. Real estate agent with the LKW Home Team, real estate investor. Follow my flip at #Betsy614 on Instagram, and just an all-around female entrepreneurial advocate.
She's doing big things, and she was just featured, or will be featured, in the August edition of Real Producers of Columbus.
I was going to let you finish it because I know you got it, girl.
I got it
It is
out.
Real
I got it
Producers
out.
of Columbus, yes.
And what are you featured for?
I am the realtor on the rise. Thank you so much for acknowledging me. You were just so kind this morning to give me all of the appreciation and love.
Because I think it's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Speaking of amazing,
Oh my gosh. First of all, I want to say there's two things. We have a perfect guest today who I think is going to possibly be my new best friend. This is Yasmine Robles of Robles Designs, and at Robles Designs on Instagram. And Yasmine, take it over. Give us, you know what? Your elevator pitch was beyond
it's a good
perfection.
one. It's a good one.
And I was like, tell me about yourself in 10 seconds. And what you spit out, just like, I wanted to hug you. Give it up.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I create drool-worthy websites and brands for entrepreneurs who are hell-bent on taking over the world.
Drool-worthy websites and brands for entrepreneurs that are hell-bent on taking over the world. I don't know.
love it.
I don't know, like, what the source you had that made you find those perfect words to put together, but it just sounds so badass. Sorry, Doug. It really just, like, hits it, you know? So.
Totally, absolutely. So expand on that. So tell us a little bit more, like, in detail about what you do and how you even found this as your calling.
Yeah, so what I really do is I create websites and graphics for entrepreneurs and small businesses that are looking to level up. They're looking to really grow their business and with strategy. So we can make a pretty website, but a pretty website's not going to get you conversions. And so we back that up with our geekiness and yeah, just create websites and brands.
Geekiness, as in like
yeah.
SEO stuff?
SEO,
that's what I
drive
was wondering.
traffic?
SEO development. Our first phase is pretty much all research into who you're targeting, who your ideal client is, who is going to make you jump up and down when you gain that client.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so we research all of that and then create the site instead of trying to create a pretty website that might not attract who you're looking for.
I love that. And
It's brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
you're basically, I think everybody has their, and I've talked about this before, but their avatar, if you will, of the perfect client. And every time you do something, you should be doing it for that person, right? So who do you want to work with? What does that look like? And how do you gain those clients? Because we've all worked with people, Michael and I have talked about this so many times, where we are like, oh my gosh, I'm dreading this existence. Like, why did I take on this client?
Right,
Can I
yeah.
fire them? What can I do? And so basically you're creating not only a brand for your client, but you're gaining a perfect client for them, you know? So that's great. I love it.
so I got a question for you. How would you say, like, kind of help someone figure out who their client is? Because I remember early on in my business, I really didn't know. I didn't know how to find it. Now, years later, I know exactly who my client is. But I think in the beginning, that's like one of the challenging things. Do you have any thoughts? Like, how do you guide someone towards their client?
Yeah, so we have a whole process on, first there's a questionnaire. In some businesses, some people know they've been in business for maybe about a year or two, and they know they've taken on clients that were not the best fit. They were maybe
Right.
really great clients, but they just didn't jive very well. And so they kind of know who they're looking for. And then there's businesses who, when I ask, how old is your ideal client? And they say, well, anyone that can use this product
Yes.
from age 0 to age 100. And so that's when I get to come in and just ask really probing questions that will draw out who your ideal client is, who is that number one person, because just because your ideal person might be, let's say, a 24-year-old female, that doesn't mean that you're excluding everybody else.
Right.
Absolutely. It just means that you when you get up in the morning, that's the client who's going to make you super excited to just get into the office.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So do you think like early on it's important to identify who your target market is?
Yeah, and I totally understand the fear that comes with that. I had that fear as well.
What is the fear that you think comes with it?
Not being able to make ends meet, not making that sale, or
Yeah.
if you say no to somebody, then what happens next month. And really it's about figuring out who you want to serve, who makes you super excited, and then going after them.
Right, because ultimately if you're approaching it like that and you're thinking, I get to work with the people that make me excited, that really, drive my ambition, those are the people that you're going to be able to perform better for in the end anyway.
Yeah, and then the whole brand just comes together. So for example, if anybody goes on my website, it's a bit feminine. I mean, there's gold in there, there's hashtags, there's inside geeky jokes about Game of Thrones, and so that is who I want to work with. I don't want to work with anybody else.
Yep.
I do have male clients, but they still jive with me. They know what I
because they're
do.
just cool. They respect it. They appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. It's kind of like Jen and I talk a lot about with what she does on social media. One reason she likes to do that is because that's kind of a qualifier for her in the beginning. If you don't really like my social media, then you're
Right.
probably not going to be my
I
client.
have a very specific style and attitude and type, and if you're not digging me on social media, the real life isn't any more tame. I'll just say
Right.
that. So it's definitely one of those things where I'm like, you get to see me, and I think building a brand, and I always say this, is the most important thing you can do up front, because it is how people will get to know you and figure out if you're the right fit for them. Because how are you going to get positive reviews, and how are you going to get great feedback if you have a bunch of clients that don't mesh well with you? So instead you're just going to end up with a bunch of people that were like, meh, they got the job done, but it wasn't my favorite cup of tea. Instead, I have all these clients that are like, we love you,
Right.
so that's exactly what you want it to look like, right?
Yeah, and anything. You're not going to appeal to everyone, even in your personal life. You're
Right.
not. You don't want to be friends with everyone.
Exhausting.
And same thing in business. You don't want everybody out there. So, for example, I am very specific about the clients that I choose to work with. Usually, they're women entrepreneurs. Usually, that's why my tagline says that if you're hell-bent on taking over the world, I'm here to help you, because you're driven. You've probably have had this passion for a long time, and so that just weeds out the people who might not be as serious about their website or brand yet.
Right.
That's awesome. So we talked about fear. We touched on it for a second, but this is a big topic that Jen and I talk about often. You left a job to start a business.
Yeah.
Was that scary or?
Yeah, give it to us.
Oh no! It was, yes, of course it was
Give
scary.
us the grit.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrifying. I had made it to my goal. My goal in high school and college had been to get into corporate and then move up in corporate. I had this big vision of what you see on TV about what working in corporate is like, and so I got a really great job. Was in a really great e-commerce team. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hours. I learned so much from working there, but there was always this nagging thing in the back of my head that, well, maybe this choice that they're making isn't the best one, but I am the web developer,
Right.
so I get to keep that to myself, and just a lot of, again, fears holding me back from
Right.
that role. And then it just, it became stagnant. It was the same thing every day. And
How long did you work for the company?
Shoot, I think 2 or almost 3 years, maybe. Yeah, it's been.
And then
a
you
long
were
time.
just
You were ready to move on.
Yeah.
Did you ever? I know when I worked for other companies, I always just had like this nagging feeling inside that I hated making money for the people who were making way more money than I was.
Yes.
Have you guys ever felt that? Like,
Always.
I just knew, like, I
Always.
was a hard worker. I was dedicated. I was going to show up every day and do my best. But yet, what I was making, you know, I didn't have a lot of flexibility in it. But now when I work for myself, I know that I have way more control over what I make.
Totally.
Yeah, and the team was great. My manager was great. But again, it comes back to how many hours am I spending? How many Thanksgivings am I going to work through dinner?
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
exactly.
dinner in order to get this site update done. And at the end of the day, yes, it's appreciated, but how far is it going to get me?
What are you going to do for someone else to take away time from yourself and your family and your quality of life versus what you would do for yourself? You know, so in a corporate world, or when you're working for someone else, you're taking all of these, you're giving up so much of your personal time for someone else. But
Totally.
that's where I think a lot of entrepreneurs find their passion and get that, you know, that bravery.
It's about learning. I had not yet learned how to set my foot down and say no. And so there came a point when there was nothing actually going on, and I just did not want to be there. And so, and I knew that it would start affecting my work eventually. So I called my husband, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It's not even that bad of a day. There's no last minute changes for once. There's not something weird is going on. I just don't want to be here. And he was probably really tired of hearing me complain all the time, and so he told me to just go ahead and resign, and we would figure it out. And I did, and that was
That day you did?
and that was
No, did you?
literally, hey, I mean, a lot of us I've heard a lot of people have done it where they Google like how to write a resignation letter, because I had, I didn't have
Did you Google, like, did you phone
I
Google, like,
Googled
how
it, copied
to?
and pasted, put my name in it, and then handed it in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That day.
Yeah.
First of all, what's your husband's name?
Daniel.
High five, Daniel.
Yeah.
Way to be, like, that's total step up and support. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, and then it was just like this really, really crazy, exciting feeling. And then at the last day, I gave them a month, and the last day when I walked out, that's when that fear finally set in.
Yeah.
So going back to that fear, it was like you're walking out, so they have a big parking lot, and I'm walking to my car the last day, and it's like, holy, like, what did I
What did I
just
do?
You knew there wasn't another paycheck coming.
There's not another paycheck coming. There's no insurance. Like, what exactly am I going to do? And I had been networking, but not with full intention. So I had something to fall back on. But again, it's just like this horrible feeling mixed with excitement. And
totally.
that you don't even know whether you want to cry or smile or shout or anything.
Absolutely. I 100% get it. You're just like, am I going to vomit or do a cartwheel? I'm not sure what's happening.
Or both.
Yeah.
Especially after that cartwheel.
Yeah.
So how important was mindset through all of that?
Oh my God.
Like, did you have to check yourself? Did you find that you had a pity party for yourself a couple times, or were you just out of the gate, okay, I'm ready to build a company and serve other female entrepreneurs? What was your state of mind?
So it was a roller coaster. There's a mug where I have my office at Haven. The mug says something like, it's kind of like riding a bike. But owning a business is kind of like riding a bike, except the bike is on fire, you're on fire, everything is on fire. And that's exactly, I love that mug. That's exactly what being an entrepreneur is like.
Absolutely.
But I love it. I have not gotten bored yet. And again, the fear is still there. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes it's a roller coaster in an hour. I'll freak out.
Yeah.
I'll call my husband. He'll say it's literally just it's still before noon. You're
Right.
fine. And then I'll get back to work, and everything will be fine at like 5 p.m. I'm like, what was I so worried about? But it is a very big roller coaster of fear. And
That image of the bike on fire, I think that pretty much.
I didn't learn how to ride a bike
says
until I was
it.
21, so that's
So that
That's
even
really
kinda hits home.
as another dimension there for you.
So what do you feel was, when you decided to resign and you knew, like, your next step was, I'm going to start a career, what do you believe was your biggest fear and your greatest accomplishment?
So at that moment, the biggest fear was that I would fail. And with that, the biggest accomplishment has been me not caring
Oh,
about failure.
I
So
love that.
Yes, that's
when
huge.
when I had this
Did
fear,
you that hit you while you were worried about failing, or
So-
like how long did it take you?
a while, so I was worried about it all, I gave my notice, I walked out, and that's when the fear started about whether or not I was going to be fail and what will people think, and
I
if
know,
I have to go
totally.
get another job, what if I have to get a job at like Lyft or
Yeah.
McDonald's or something. And
Yeah.
then finally about a month or two later, I had started networking. I had actually gotten clients as soon as I told everyone. I just started shouting it out and
On
saying,
social media?
yeah, on social media everywhere, saying, hey, I just left my job, I'm looking for clients. And luckily people, I don't know, they liked me
responded
for some
to it.
reason, and they responded to it. And so that's when the shift started happening, where it was really, what would be the worst thing that would happen if I did fail?
Yeah.
Okay, I would get another job. Maybe we'd lose a house. Okay, that'd be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Where would the kids sleep? Well, my mom loves me a lot, and she loves her grandkids, and I wouldn't mind moving back to, if that was the worst that happened, like I moved back with my mom to Erie, Pennsylvania, that's fine. She loves her grandkids. She cooks all my favorite meals, and
Should probably do your laundry.
Yeah,
Let's
so
be
she's-
honest here.
Right, and so if that's the worst that would happen, and then why not? Why shouldn't I
Right.
give this a try? And then my background, I've been, during high school and stuff, we had been homeless. My mom was a single mom, and so I know what that's like, and I turned out pretty okay. Kind of weird, but I turned out pretty okay.
Yep.
And so, and I made it all the way to corporate, so why can't I do that again?
Exactly.
Right.
You know what? I do that often when I'm scared of doing something. My first thing is, well, what's the worst that could happen? And then I figure out what the worst is. And then I say, okay, if that happened, could I deal with it? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is always yes. I
Right?
can handle that.
Yeah.
I've already done that. I've already
Yeah.
been in that situation, or it's
Yeah.
been worse than that. I think that's a good way to kind of refocus and kind of set your mind right when you're in those moments where you're having doubts, maybe.
Can you tell us a little bit about the situation in high school, how did you get from a point of being homeless at that time into getting to, so you had goals, obviously. You're like, I want to change the way my path looks. Just go like a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah, so my mother and my stepfather had a rocky relationship. There was some domestic abuse, and she finally got the courage to leave. Now, around the time that I was in high school, I'm the oldest.
Right.
I have a younger brother and a younger sister. And so at that point, we didn't really decide to leave. He kicked us out.
Okay.
And so we were in a shelter. We were trying to figure out where we would end up. Luckily, in Pennsylvania, they had housing assistance, but
Right.
we did live in a shelter for about, I think, 3 months.
Right. Yeah.
And so that was just like, if that's the lowest that you can go,
Right.
there's support out there, and then you just have to look for it, and then you can always make it up. And I've always been very different from my brother and my sister, where I don't know if it's because I'm the oldest, or because I shouldered a lot more responsibility
Yeah.
during that time, that I've always been driven. So when I knew that when my grades were faltering, I would make friends with the smart kids, and they would help me with my homework. Or when, just picking and choosing who you hang out with.
Right.
And
Totally.
then knowing that if I am in this shelter, then I have something to prove. I get to go to college. I got a scholarship. I went to the hardest commercial art class in high school. It was a tech school. And the teacher was amazing. Out of I think it was 25 students that entered freshman year, only 3 of us ended up graduating from his class, but all of us with a scholarship. One of us got at CCAD, he got the full tuition scholarship. I only got the half, but and then the other guy got slightly lower than me, and then so we all went to college. And then again, finding out what the hardest thing was and overcoming that challenge, whether it was the major or anything like
Right.
that.
Is your mom super proud of you?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. Yeah,
I'm
she
sure
says
she
she
is.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got to be.
Hey, speaking of moms, real quick, not to side note it, but Michael and I's moms are here today.
They're our biggest fans. My mom's even wearing a no drip painting.
She
shirt.
is. Mom, where's your
Okay.
LKW
I
home
don't
team
know.
shirt? Oh my gosh,
Sorry.
Mom, so
Next time.
disappointed.
You gotta get her a shirt.
So my mom's name is Jeannie, and she's awesome, and I love her so much. She is just the best supporter in my life,
For
and
sure.
yeah, she's the best.
And I'd say the same thing about my mom. As a matter of fact, I got to give my mom a shout out. You guys don't know this, but she's retired. She was a school teacher, and over the last couple years since she's been retired, she's written 3 children's books.
Wow.
They're amazing. And she's got quite the imagination, and it's something that she had talked about for years. I mean, years. I can remember her kind of throwing up these stories and ideas, and then she ended up putting them together in books. So
Do you know that your mom is a 614Fempreneur?
she is.
She is.
She has a bad mouth just like you, though. I don't know if we
Does
can bring her
she?
on. Yeah, she can at times.
Ah! I love it.
We'll
You're
talk
not,
about, yeah, we'll
okay.
talk about that later. Anyway, so anything else on that topic, Jen? That was a good. That was a great story.
Yeah,
Very
it was really good.
inspirational.
Yeah, no, I don't. But so what I would love to hear about right now is what, at your current pace and where you're at this point, what do you want your growth to look like, and also what do you feel since you've started your business, and how long has that been?
About 2 years.
2 years since you've started your business. What has been some of the things that you have conquered that you're like, this has been extremely rough and hard, and I didn't expect it? Like, for example, all the paperwork, the
Oh, God, yeah.
accounting,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, there's so many things that go into
Yeah.
a business that people
Yes.
don't think about, that you're just like, oh,
It's like, because you have to be an expert in everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
You don't, I didn't have any knowledge of accounting or how to do it, but I sure know a lot about it now.
exactly.
So it's like when you become a business owner, you really get a quick experience in all these different areas. How do you balance that
Right.
along with growing your business?
Yeah, so where do you see yourself now from where you started, and where do you want to go?
So when I first started, I had no idea. I thought that I would need to go get an MBA because I didn't know anything about the numbers. I knew how to make websites, and that was it. I invested in a couple key things in accountant as soon as I could. As soon as I saw a profit coming in,
Right.
I invested in an accountant and a business coach, and now I have an assistant who handles contracts, general emails, anything
Love
like
it.
that, just because my best work is on websites and going out to networking events and selling websites, and I can't do that if I am figuring
Yes.
out what receipt went with what.
I can't say
That's-
this, like, I
yeah.
want to, maybe on my tombstone, I want, like, leverage to be put there, because that is one of the words that, like, I cannot stress enough, that when you get leverage, to know what your strengths are, and then find other people that don't mind your weaknesses and have them do them, because I know my best work is out talking to people, and it's out meeting new clients and making deals happen and negotiating, and instead you get bogged down with these
Right.
mundane emails and tasks, and you're just like, this is a waste of my time. So just finding great people that can help you do that, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then just not worrying about messing up. I'm very controlling sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So letting go of control and not worrying so much about messing up, because usually we're more critical of ourselves and people don't realize when we have messed up, but we are so harsh on
Right.
ourselves. So just being forgiving and saying, well, I'm going to mess up, but I'm going to mess up super in an awesome way.
Right, totally. Summer talked about that when we had her on here, and I thought she really highlighted that well. So it's nice to hear you say that.
I was listening to a Gary Vee podcast the other day, and basically they were just saying so many things about, so many of his viewers came back and said, the best advice that we've ever heard from you, and it was like so repetitive, is that no one else cares. If you're having having a bad day, no one else cares. Is there something going on in your personal life? No one cares. Like, there can be so many things and excuses and reasons for all of the things, but in reality, no one cares. And sometimes you just need that harsh moment to have somebody say, like, hey, listen, all of the things still need to happen, and you have a choice to either stop and fail or keep going, because in reality, you can be amazing, you can suck at your career, no one cares. You know, they're still going to go on with their day to day. So you are your worst critic, and you have to keep that in mind. And also, whatever's going on, like, that's your beast to burden.
Yeah.
Move on. Let's go. Right?
Yeah, that's some good insight right there.
Yeah.
Tell everyone how to get in contact with you.
Yeah, so you can go to my website, roblesdesigns.com. That's ROBLES designs.com. You can find me on Instagram at Robles Design Studio and Facebook at Robles Designs.
So we talked about, you say your A client. Who is your A client?
My dream client is I was almost gonna say kick-ass, but
You can say it.
You can say kick-ass. Do it.
All right. Is a kick-ass woman who she's had her business for about 3 years now, 2-3 years, and she's had a website. She probably DIY'd it. She knows what it's like to create her own website, to do that, but she's seen the growth, and she knows that with an amazing website or brand, she can just level it up and triple or more her income. So for me, it's that person who has been driven, who has struggled, and she's overcome that struggle. She's, in the mindset of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take over the world, and nobody's going to stop me.
And she's got some years under her belt, so she probably can afford to put some money into things like the website and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now you do different workshops. I know you have some workshops coming up. So you're doing one on the 17th that I'm super interested in. So
Tell us.
Can you start by talking about that one?
Yeah, so for sure we have a workshop every first Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. Typically at Haven Collective on Riverside Drive. Sometimes that place switches, but so for sure that one. And then on the 17th we have one where we are going to create social media templates.
Yes.
So if you are DIYing your social media graphics and kind of just want to create templates and make life easier for yourself, then that is what we're going to be doing. Workshops range from SEO, talking about paid media, or how to grow organically on social media, how to create videos for social media. Social media is a big thing.
For sure.
I need to come to every single one of your workshops.
Yeah. So
I want to come to everyone, and also I feel like I'm your ideal client, so we'll talk later about that too.
All right, definitely. So the workshops are really tailored for the person who wants to be taking over the world, and they're just not quite there yet, but they know that they get to DIY a few things on their website, on their social media, and so the workshops are there to support them.
Okay, awesome. So you've got one on the 17th at Haven at 7 p.m. And then what's the one after that?
That one is the 4th of September. I believe that one is in Grandview Yard.
Okay.
That should be, I just put that up on Eventbrite. And then if you go to Eventbrite and just search for Robles Designs, the workshops are typically under the Digital Hustle Tribe. So if you search for that as well, you can find all of the workshops. There's a couple through October.
Awesome. Now I know Jen's got a really important question for you.
I do. Okay, real quick. Do you know? Okay, so you love Cardi B. I love Cardi B. Oh.
Yeah.
Can you make any of her noises?
Oh, no. I've tried.
I won't ask you to.
I was about to.
Do it.
No, I'll save it for next time.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know, what's your favorite song, by the way?
Money.
Mine is Press.
Okay.
High five it, girl. I love Money. That's my second. Okay, and then also, do you know why her name is Cardi B?
I don't know. I know her actual name. And
That's not what I'm asking
I
you.
don't know.
Okay, her name is Cardi B. So her sister's name is Hennessy. True story. And while she was growing up, everyone called her Bacardi. So she actually took it and flipped it, and it's Cardi B, like just as a joke.
Super creative.
Legit.
Yeah.
We love Cardi B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get up 10.
Okay.
Jen, do you have anything?
I did that really.
Do you have anything coming up that you want to announce?
No, but I want you guys to come. I'm taking over Columbus Navigator's Instagram. So just check out Welcome Home 614 on Instagram, and please Facebook friend and like 614Fempreneur. It's 614Fempreneur. Jennifer Kessel White.
You have gotten so good at that.
Nailing it.
If you want to see what the latest greatest is in the painting business, you can check out No Drip Painting on Facebook or Instagram. Anything else, ladies? Yasmine, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Yasmine. We love you.
It was awesome, and you might have some new clients here sitting next to you.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, thanks for joining us.